Imagine you've stepped into a dating world where women are queens holding the keys, and men are the hopeful applicants, lined up, waiting for a shot. It sounds empowering for women, right? But here's the twist. It's leaving them lonelier than ever. Let me explain. Picture this. You're a kid in a candy store, surrounded by mountains of sweets, gummy bears, chocolate bars, lollipops. With all these choices, you'd think you'd be in heaven, but instead you're stuck. You can't choose. Too many options create a kind of paralysis, and you walk out with nothing. The same thing is happening in modern dating. Women are holding the cards, swiping left and right through an endless stream of profiles, selecting men they might want to engage with. Meanwhile, men wait in line, submitting their applications like hopeful job candidates. But does this power truly work in women's favor? Not quite. You see, when women become the selectors, they're given more control, more power, but also more choices. And that's where it all falls apart. This glut of options isn't liberating, it's stifling. When you're faced with too many choices, it's nearly impossible to make a decision. This is the paradox of choice. The more options you have, the harder it becomes to pick one, because every choice feels like you might be missing out on something better. Think about it. In the old days, dating was simpler. A man might see a woman, start a conversation, ask her out for a drink. If she was intrigued, she said yes, and they'd see where it went. Sure, there was still choice involved, but it was limited, and that made decisions easier and more meaningful. Now the digital age has blown that wide open. Instead of meeting one or two interesting men at a party or through mutual friends, women now scroll through hundreds of profiles in a single afternoon. What seems like an empowering abundance quickly turns into a minefield of indecision. Here's where it gets really tricky. With so many potential matches in front of her, a woman might swipe past a guy who's genuinely great, because there's always that whisper in her ear. What if someone better is just one more swipe away? Instead of seeing the guy in front of her as a potential real-life partner, she starts comparing him to an imaginary perfect guy who could be just around the corner. That's the danger. The constant search for perfection makes it impossible to settle because settling sounds like giving up. But when every option is within reach, nothing feels special. Even if a woman meets a man who ticks almost all the boxes, she hesitates. She wonders, is he enough? With so many options, shouldn't I be able to find someone who meets every single one of my expectations? This cycle is destructive. It keeps people endlessly searching, hoping that happiness lies in the next match, the next date, the next conversation. But the truth is that elusive perfect match might never come. And while she waits, loneliness creeps in. On the other side of the screen, men are just as frustrated. They're putting in effort, sending thoughtful messages, trying to stand out in a sea of competition. But the chances of catching her eye are slim, because she's swamped with choices and overwhelmed by the sheer volume of attention. And so, both sides lose. Women, overwhelmed and indecisive, feel unfulfilled despite having endless options. Men, despite their best efforts, feel overlooked and underappreciated. In the end, dating apps, which promise to connect us all, are leaving us more disconnected than ever.